Namaskar. I'm Kumar Rakesh, and you're watching Global Governance News TV. Today, we're going to discuss the hatred of Hindu in academia. As we know, nowadays, just you see when the whole world is alarmed at the swift takeover of the Afghanistan by the regressive and Islamist and self-proclaimed jihadi Taliban, and on other way the an special conference is going on that is called the dismantling global hindutva. How just hinduphobia, we can say, how they are going to do it, and just circulated in social media poster of conferences attempts a false equivalence upon the unsuspecting readers in the opening lines. Militant hindu groups exist and growing exponentially. How ridiculous that they are making the comment. What is concern of this? We can understand here. I'm not going to details how you'll go and now and just in the US and the different parts of the globe. As we know, the Sanatan Hinduism, the old, oldest religion of the earth. And but now, how in academia, how the confusions has been created and the wall of confusions. So we'll discuss on the issue how we have been misrepresented really in academia, despite so many protests are there. American Hindu growing in the United States, my faith and identity, and wherever you see, any part of the world, all the Hindu minds are growing, Hindu intellects are growing. But on the contrary, the opponents, just for the politics. Whatever politics, we know. Everybody know. They are know. They know. So just we have the eminent panelist on today here to discuss all the issues. So and Avtans Kumarji, Avtans is here, and the person just we know. I'll just intro a little bit. I'll give you the introduction about him. So how and we have the Poonam Gupta Krishnanji, we have Dr. Saket Sinha and Dr. Rambhat from the Germany. He is a scholar and professor in the University of Hamburg. We have Vikram Sharma, the editor at Hindu Post, and and Dr. Saket Sinha. So, just if you see the how we are going to discuss the issue. So on this, just I introduce you. So I'll start from the Avatansi, how just you going on and how our this discussion should go accordingly, or on the contrary, we'll discuss all the issues. So, Avdansi is a linguistic columnist and public speaker and activist. He writes frequently on the several national and international media outlets, and he is the president and trustee of Indica, a not-profit organization, US. And we have Poonam Gupta Krishnan is a data scientist, digital transformation expert, technology entrepreneur, and Vedic scientist from the Chicago. And uh, and Dr. Shaket Sinha is a doctor, and all the social activists we can say, and active on so many social fronts for advocacy for the Bharat and Hinduism. And Dr. R. Ram Vibhaj, if you see that he's the head of the Department of Hindology, University of Hamburg, and from Uttarakhand and living in Germany. So all the academicians here and Vandana ji and eminent journalists from Chicago. So this idea just and it goes to here today, just how he is thinking, how your mind, and just to unite each and every person in this show accordingly. So I think Avtan's connectivity is, I think devices problem is there. Avtansi was there and we start to Avtansi. Any actually some technical problem. This is push the button and yeah, just okay. Just looking for Avtansi and Avtansi disappeared. So
I'm here.
so yeah, so okay, so nice. So Avtansi, just start how does the hatred of the Hindu in the academia, how is going on, and how what we should do and what we are doing.
Namaste, everybody. Thank you for inviting me to talk about Hindu phobia as well as this conference that is going on, Dismantling Global Hindutva Conference. The conference is happening virtually, so a lot of people are uh, dialing in on Zoom and things like that, and it's over the weekend. It coincides with 9/11. So the one of the main organizers of this conference is academic from Rutgers University. I'm sure everybody in India knows about her. She's a historian, calls herself a historian. Audrey Trushki is her name. If you look at her history through her social media profile and the work she does, you will know that she is a very extremely Hindu-phobic academic. So she's the one who said in her post a couple of years ago that Bhagwan Ram, uh, Mata Sita called Bhagwan Ram a chauvinist pig. And then she's also part of.
From the network problem, I think.
Sorry, we lost
No, no
again.
problem. No problem. No problem. Yeah, please carry on.
Okay, sorry, we lost connection. But yes, so she's also the person who organizes the Holy Against Hindutva conference. She was also one of the main activists against CAA, the Citizenship Amendment Act.
I think after you are a laptop or your phone.
Phone.
Oh, that's problem. If your laptop, then no problem. So no problem, no issue. Please carry on.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm getting kicked out every now and then. So anyway, so
This is automatically nobody can kick you, but automatically this is our system. Right? You
Are
are
you
more
getting
just
the calls on your phone? That's why you're getting kicked out? Like, either
my
you
you
are,
are
my
right.
yeah.
You are right.
my
You are right.
calls are
It may be.
all
It
silenced.
may be.
So
It
No,
may
but
be.
silenced is not because, okay, go on.
I'm at
Yeah,
work.
please.
So yeah. So
Please carry on.
okay, okay.
It still is actually a face is so still.
Is it better
It's
now?
connectivity problem. So and okay now.
Yeah,
Can
I'm
see?
okay. Can you see
Yeah.
me?
Please. Yeah. Yeah. Please
Okay,
carry on.
so basically, this is the group of activists. If you look at other panelists, they had initially they also had activists like Kavita Krishnan, who is very Hindu-phobic and associated with Communist Party of India. Um, eh, and there was also an academic from JNU, Aisha Kidwai. I don't know. I think her name is now disappeared from the panelist list. I'm not sure.
Rakeshji, do one thing, take Poonam and
Yeah.
Saketji, because he will be getting the calls and this is kind of, we are live
May,
right now.
maybe. So Poonam ji, just what I was just trying to just convey, Avnas ji. So,
From my laptop then. I'll go to the different room and I'll try from my laptop.
laptop is a good one. Laptop is
Okay,
a
all
static
right.
one. Yeah. So
Okay,
now
sorry
no
about
field
that.
disturbances. No
Okay,
problem.
okay, I'll disconnect for now.
No, on the same link you can connect.
Yes, okay, all right.
Yeah. Thank you. So Poonamji, just how do you analyze the whole situation? Just
Yeah.
how the some lobbies are trying to defame the Sanatan Hinduism.
Right. So I would say that any academic discussions are good meaning, let's come to a table and understand. It's impossible for everybody to understand a 20,000 year recorded history, dharma, which is dharma and religion are not the same thing. And seeing from the 2-year-old's perspective or of great granddaddy is not possible, so coming to the table is appreciated. However, when I look at the line of speakers, it's and it's almost not almost, it is a shame for the universities to give even their name in whatever format. It is looks like a politically motivated conference to create Hindu phobia, because all of the speakers that were listed are activists on one side. There is no room for different views to come on open and discuss. So there is nothing wrong to have a wrong opinion or wrong understanding, but a platform to come together and understand. And since I see in this conference, it is not a conference, it is a propaganda to create and set a narrative similar to what was done to Jews and Kashmiris, to create a narrative to make them look bad, and then getting the consensus, an institutional consensus on that, in order to justify silencing these actually victims. So I see this as a systematic Hinduphobia narrative being built. So I don't even give a respect of it as a conference. It is a propaganda, a politically motivated propaganda. All extreme leftists from India, not mostly from US, that's where they are holding or claiming to hold, or it is online, but nonetheless, they are doing in the US universities. And shame, as I said, shame on these reputed universities to even lend their names. So, and that too on the anniversary of 9/11. I do not believe that the three items that they are saying the themes are against Hindutva, the casteist, misogynist, akin to white supremacist. Again, on all the items, the differing views can be discussed, but let us, when we have everybody on the same side of the table, I would like to ask a questions to let us examine if these traits are seen in Christianity and Islam. Have they done any of that work, or it is just a propaganda? So that's my starting, or my understanding of what's happening.
Okay. So, Dr. Sakesh Sinha, how does Poonam be saying that this is a propaganda created by some of the political activists and just to counter Hinduism? And now they have seen, they are just already viewing that Hinduism is growing day by day globally, especially after 2014. Just unmute yourself. Yeah, please carry on. Please,
Namaskar,
please.
viewers. Thank you for having me. I would like to point out this is all over the US and also outside the US. So it is not just a singular event that dismantling global Hindutva conference is happening. This is the pinnacle of the movement they have been doing for a while in the campuses, in the students' organizations, and there is multiple of that sort that has been going on. One of that is called Sahi, Student uh, Against Hindutva Ideology. It is headed by many of them, campuses that are there, that are participating on various meetings. And typically the students that are Hindus, they get harassed, they get bullied. There has been cases of that in the past, and we have come across on this table after we all saw the logo of dismantling global Hindutva, and we saw this is very violent. We find this unacceptable. All across the world, people are coming forward and voicing their unrest and unhappiness about why these are the people being allowed in general. Why is someone allowed to dismantle someone's ideology? It is totally unacceptable. You cannot do that to Islamists, which are much more terrorist everywhere. You cannot do that to Christians or any other organization or a religion or sect. My fury about this whole situation is from the cause is all evident. This is being done for a motive. Uh, See what is bothering everybody is that they see that you know the हस्ती मिटती नहीं हमारी सदियों रहा है दुश्मन हमारा दौरे जहां हमारा यूनान मिस्र रोमा सब मिट गए जहां से बाकी मगर है लेकिन नामो निशा हमारा। तो अब ये चीज इनकी आंखों में गड़ रही है, काफी समय से ऐसा चल रहा है। इसको रोकने के लिए अब ये और दूसरा चीज के पब्लिसिटी प्रोपेगेंडा भी है। Some of the political organizations want quick publicity and get in front of the people. They are claiming to be protecting Hinduism, which is an English term, and they are against Hindutva, which is a Sanskrit term. I'm not sure how they are defining one versus the other, being not contrary to each other. In our opinion, that's the same thing. So I feel that this is a global phenomenon. This is not just one singular conference that is happening, and we are seeing this attitude inside all the institutions that I have come across. I have the name list of all the organizations that have something like this in the actual action they are doing on a regular basis.
Okay. So, Dr. Shakir Sinha, just to say, just your Hindi, so hasti mitti nahi hamari, really, nobody can just omit us and delete us in this universe, as we are the oldest religion on the earth, more than 50,000 years old. And after that, if we see the history, as you all aware that in 2018, our Vice President of India, Venkaiah Naidu, just stated in his speech, Sanatan Hinduism is the mother of all religions, as we know it. So now I'll take just Dr. Ram Bhatt ji and Avtas ji are now already there. So after that, I'll take Avtas ji. So Ram Bhatt ji, how just you analyze the all scenario and how there's some lobbies and some groups is trying to defame. So how any religion can defame the mother and father like that?
Many thanks, Rakesh ji. Thanks a lot. Namaste to all.
Yeah.
I think we have a few problems here.
Yeah.
One thing I think the very first, the term Hindutva and Hinduism, this distinction made there is quite, of course, obvious in some ways, and on the other hand, not understandable, especially Hindutva. Because as far as I'm concerned, as an Indian, or by birth, I don't understand that why should RSS or any other institution be seen as a custodian of Hindus. Because if I go to the village India, and I'm talking about over 68% of people living in villages, and the Hindus, if I may so say, then they don't have that idea. They don't understand Hinduism. They will not use the term Hinduism. And Hindutva, of course, has a different connotation for these people. So the starting point was, of course, that it is seen as a socio-cultural and political a kind of ideology during the independence movement of India. That's where it starts. But we failed. I think the scholars must go a bit back and go to the field. Do not remain only in the big towns of India and only look at the political scenario of that country, because all Indians are not politicians and not politicals. So I have a problem there. The second thing is the methodology, how we research these ideology. Does it represent the whole India, all Hindus? As far as I know, no. The third thing is, of course, you just forget the cultural memory of those people. We need to look at that as well. And of course, without cultural memory, yes, of course, we don't come further. The problem, of course, is there that the approaches might be seen from the, or is applied from the monotheistic religions to Hinduism, or as we use this term, it is even not Indian term. So Hinduism is not monotheistic; it's a pluralistic, religion or art of living in that sense. So already there we have problems. I would say we Indians have failed in many ways, especially our scholars. They have not been able to develop the models of research, how we produce, how we present, these developments or Hinduism itself. Nothing was done in India. All these people, all our scholars in India, they are relying on the models developed by the Western people, Western scholars.
I
So
disagree a little bit on that, Rambhatji. I will start from Swami Vivekanand, but sorry to interrupt. Please continue.
Please.
yeah,
No,
thanks,
no,
Alok.
no,
Of
no
course,
problem. No
you
problem.
can
Just
you
enjoy
can
it.
counter me, of course.
Yeah,
I
no
don't
problem.
have any problem there. Then I come to this. I mean this conference itself. This is a disgrace, absolutely, because using that term dismantling, of course, should not be acceptable to also to scholarship. You cannot dismantle the people or the faith of the people or the ideology itself. That is purely political agenda in that sense to me. And therefore I think I don't take these people very seriously, because they, most of people, those they have been, I don't want to call them names, but they are known to them. People know them, and they have a kind of history, their own history, whether people from India or from the West. So I must say that in Germany, I haven't heard this kind of discourses, not this harsh, not at all. And I'm happy that the scholars here in Germany, they have a little bit different approach, and not like this woman who is very fanatic. In my sense, I don't take her seriously at all, because I read her work on Aurangzeb and I think she is completely wrong. She doesn't have any respect to Indians. But then again, you need to look at who is giving the platform to this woman. It is the Indian journalist. Why should you give a person such a platform that she becomes a kind of hero or heroine? This is a problem. And then of course we also need to look at, of course, if they are talking about Brahmanism, caste, or misogynist, these three themes, issues. I mean, how long do you want to talk about only Brahmanism? This has to, we need to have something else. India is not only Brahmanism. India is much further now. India has developed. People are, not thinking in that line of Brahmanism anymore. So this is a very old-fashioned in that sense to me. Of course, they will talk loud, but also in India, I think I expect from people, for those who are working in this field, especially Indology in India, is not done much. There was a Bhandarkar Institute that is also not supported, I think, by the government that well. And in other universities, I don't see very much work being done there. So whom to blame? I mean, you can counter a scholarly discourse with the scholarly discourse. That's the way. You cannot bring the politics there. But of course, if it becomes politics, then the politics has to be countered with the politics. So I think for now, I think I would say I'm done, and later on maybe more things will come.
Okay,
Thanks.
so nice, Dr. Ahmed. Just you have stated about how many universities are already just have the studies of the Hindu studies. I think very few universities, if you see the academia. But there are the other theories, other just carriers and couriers of the thoughts who are there and just to trying to defame the Hindus. Avtanji, how just you analyze Avtans is there?
Yes,
He,
I'm here.
sir, please. So, Avtanji, how just you analyze the whole situation in the academician and the academia and total universities and the educational institute about the Hindus?
So, Bhatt Sahab has raised some good points, and I'll take a couple of points from him and then try to build an
Please.
argument. First of all, point about Brahmanism and other things, and how the scholars have not done enough. That's that we can argue about, and it's a good point, good thing that we are here to talk about this. We have to understand that when we talk about Hinduism and anything about India, we have lost the lens of looking at things. We have lost the lexicon. We have lost the language. Just for the example, we are talking about religion. What is religion? In our context, religion means nothing. We do not have the concept of religion, and the concept that we have that is prevalent in the world right now cannot define what we have. Sanatan Dharma, we cannot define that within that parameter, within that framework. So it's what we have to do, that since we are fighting these different narratives, we have to use some of their lexicons, but then also how do we change the lens? Even most Indians now look at, for example, Hindutva or Hindu Dharma as religion. So that's one of the points that we have to change. It's called we can call it the paradigm shift. The other point is that we have to take them seriously. To the extent that, like Bhatt Sahab also said, that if it's politics, we have to do the politics with them, but we cannot just ignore them and say, "Arey chalta hai," they are just fringe elements. No, we have to take them on with the kind of viciousness or violence that they attack us, and also at the same time with this kind of academics and scholarship that they present with us. And we have to develop that kind of rigor in our scholarship. We have to write articles, publish peer-reviewed journals where people can critique them. So that's another one. TV debates and Twitter debates and Facebook debates are okay, but we have to develop that kind of scholarship where we can counter them in the conferences, in the journals. Same again, we talked about Brahmanism. I mean, again, we are using the same term. What is Brahmanism? We don't know. There is nothing called Brahmanism as far as I'm concerned. There is nothing called Brahmanism. It's just a reaction to some of the theological concepts imposed on us from the West and primarily from Christianity. And the Indologists that can use these terms, they are imposing their own vision, looking at, same with the caste, looking at the Indian situation from their own lenses. So we have to develop our own lens. We have to develop our own lexicons, all our own system. I remember taking a class with Professor Kapil Kapoor in JNU, and he said in one of the classes that India used to be the 90 plus percent, over 90% educated society, but with Macaulay's education system, we overnight became 90% illiterate society. So we have to keep that in mind, and it's not that we have to go back into the Vedic age and things like that, but we have to grasp what we have. in the past and built up on that. And 70 years of last 70 years, which everyone hoped that will do something, would have done something, has completely wasted. I totally agree with that.
Okay, so just as Avtansi said, whatever is going on, we should take at the present manner, and what is going on, we should accept that, and we can go ahead. Whatever history is okay, but we should be we live in the present and how it is doing on. So I just think of the media, the Vandana. How just you see the all the theoretical aspects are there, and all the what is the political lobbying are there. But as a media person, I welcome Alok Laharji, senior journalist from the Spain. I'll take also and Vikramji also. So we are all from the we are full from the media fraternity, or you are all full from the academia. So this is you can say the unification of the idea of the media and the academia. So, Vandana, how just you analyze the role of media and just for the
Namaskar and good
promoting
evening to everybody.
for the Hinduism in the society?
Yeah, it has become a biggest joke actually. We are the one. Anybody, like, we became a football, to be honest. Anybody wants, they can kick us off. Who's to be blamed for that? We ourselves. And the biggest problem right now is happening when we talk about this particular conference, which is coming on the 20th anniversary of 9/11. Who was responsible for 9/11? The whole world is aware of it. And what is the current situation from last 1 month? We're talking about Taliban, ISIs, and all. So there should have been a conference on them, showing the reality of them. But again, I always say, Mera kutta Tommy, tumhara kutta kutta. So that is what, which is because we have come to, Alok is laughing on my this favorite one. Yeah.
Uh,
No,
yeah.
it sometimes it pains you, but sometimes I get very angry actually. And I say, we have to come out from our, cocoa nest, and we should be talking about the real issues that what we are facing. It is not about me. I should not be worried because I don't have any kids. So, kuch hoga, I'm to chale jayenge. What about the future generation of ours? Are we being as parents, as guardians, sending our kids to this kind of education? Poonam is a mother of two, sending two kids to school, spending so much of money. My niece and nephew, sending kids to college, it is a lot of expense. And we don't want, as an Indian parents, we don't want our kids to take loan. We want to pay most of the time from our own pocket because that is a cultural thing again. And you said how you see as a media. Media only sees, even this has become a narrative now from last 5-10 years on. Because why don't you take a name? If you take my name, but now they are smart than us. Even if you are picking up people, they sell those pav bhaji with the name of Shiv Shankar pav bhaji. But if you really know who the people are it sell with your own name. I will be hesitant to go and eat there because I know what kind of food that I'm going to get, to be honest. So our own people now, if we are awakening, that is becoming a biggest problem for them. And what I expect from the government of India, to be honest, when we talk about these speakers and all, Audrey Tushki, she goes to India, keeps giving lecture. Means why this is like, what kind of, means we talk about freedom of speech. But the freedom of speech, you have to sometimes say, shut up, because when somebody is trying to, because she should have a freedom of speech to speak about everyone. And the second thing, this is not a dialogue, this is a monologue. These are all those kind of mindset people, those who've been invited to speak. Why don't you call Avatan there? Why don't you call Poonam there? Call me there and I will show you what Hindutva is. You're talking about, we just see that in Nagpur, they're talking about hijab pehnana hai. Oh, really? Hijab pehnana. Bhai, tum pehente raho. What I do, because things are, and then our own, the next generation, they have to be told also. It's a responsibility of the parent. And sucks your Bollywood, to be very honest, who has, like, over a period of time, brainwashed our future generation, to be very upfront with you. So that is what I submission is.
Okay, so just I'll take the Alokji and Vikramji. Vikramji, just how just analyze the whole scene and scenario in India and globally, and just the new word is the created by Hindu phobia. If you just recall the just as Vandana ji mentioned about the 9/11, so we can just mention the 26/11 in Mumbai, and how they were saying the Congress leader, Hindus, Hindu terrorists, they created the new word and a new vocabulary, and how just Colonel Purohit and Sadhvi Pragya Thakur was tortured by those governments. So how do you analyze situation in nowadays? Just how the country is going, how
Yeah,
the
namaste,
Congress.
Rakesh ji, and thank you for inviting me. So I just quickly want to go back to the agenda here that we have of hatred in academia, hatred of Hindu. So this conference that which has, it's a good thing that it has attracted so much attention and it is getting such pushback from Hindus. I just want to point out one thing: the organizers have come out with something they call Hindutva Harassment Field Manual. And one of the things this manual says is that Hindu phobia rests on the false notion that Hindus have faced systematic oppression throughout history and in present times. I think this line alone is enough to show, the bad faith intent and the political agenda behind this conference. Because if anybody says that Hindu phobia is a false notion, let's not even talk about history. In the current times, and even let's assume that you want to ignore what is happening in Bharat, what just happened in West Bengal, where Hindus were. It was a state-sponsored pogrom against Hindus because they chose to vote for a particular party. Let's assume you want to forget even that, or the Kashmiri Hindu genocide of 1990 and their exodus. Look at what's happening in Bangladesh and Pakistan, right? I mean, if you don't qualify that as persecution, then I'm sorry, I don't even want to legitimize you by acknowledging you as a academic who is looking for truth. So that is my first statement on that particular conference. But then I want to just address something that I think some of the other speakers have also mentioned. Who is to blame for this rampant Hindu phobia in academia? It's there in the West, we know that, and to some degree, it is a continuation of the old, the atrocity literature that was generated during the colonial times, the likes of Catherine Mayo and other Indologists. And that legacy is now carried forward by Wendy Doniger, Audrey Truschke, Sheldon Pollock. So that bias has always existed. And yes, it is somewhere rooted in the othering of the heathen, the pagan, or the kafir, right? People who are idol worshippers have always been excluded from the Abrahamic worldview. And so those attitudes have manifested themselves in the Hindu phobia we see today. But again, the question comes, why is it allowed to go on? And I would agree with what Dr. Bhatt said, that we ourselves are responsible to a large degree, because after so-called independence, we had the opportunity to set our own narrative, build our own grand narrative, and in academia we absolutely failed to do that. The Marxist historians were allowed to capture the academia, and as a result, most of our top humanities institutes today, whether it is JNU, Jadavpur University, or Tata Institute of Social Sciences, they are all generating that same uh, anti-Hindu, Hindu-phobic discourse and research. So the Indian state has enabled these foreign academics to perpetuate these narratives. We ourselves have not, if you look at the state, we recognize the Aryan invasion theory, despite all the evidence that has now emerged against it from different sources. We talk of the majority of Hindu society as an oppressed society, as if 80% of people were oppressed throughout history by that tiny 20% population. So we have enabled this kind of discourse. So I think what we need to understand is, and also ask, why aren't other civilizations denigrated in the same way? Or everybody else is allowed to represent themselves and give an insider view, but it's only Hindus who are not given that benefit. I believe it's because we don't have a state which defends us, which represents us. So unless we have a Hindu dharmic state, and that does not mean a state which is ruled by some religious text, it just means a state which recognizes Hindu dharma and the other dharmic panths as the natural religions and protects them as the same protection that is given by Western states like Spain or UK to Christian sects. It is given by Islamic states to Islam. It is given by Buddhist states like Sri Lanka, like Myanmar, like Vietnam to Buddhism, and it is given by Israel to Judaism. So unless we have a state which represents us, we will always face this. China controls the discourse around its civilization in academia because there is a
Okay,
cost
okay,
to bear.
okay,
That's my point. Thank you.
okay. So nice, Bikramji. But you have raised valid questions. Alokji, how does Bikram Sarvaji raised Hindu dharmic state should be there? How? And which way we can be and what we have done over just the last 70 years, they ruled the country in India, that is a Bharat, and that was earlier Hindustan. Let's forget the whole, who the makers of the constitutions. So there is a India, that is Bharat. They try to divide us. And just we forget about the Hindustan Republic Army Association founded by the Chandrasekhar Azad. So we forget name of the Hindustan also. So how will just the idea, just we're trying to be, just we hear, just to form the Hindu Dharmic state. And whatever, just you see, as a history we know, Hindu has not invaded anybody. What the Christians and the Muslim has done for the country, that is our Bharat. So how you go with only for the lectures, just doing something, just to just like Crusader? How? Alokji.
Okay, thank you very much, Kumarji. And I've been listening to the panelists who have spoken. Almost everybody is speaking in the same direction. What we're not understanding is the politics behind this. It just did not happen. It is not that suddenly we see certain universities, and Ms. Sharma has talked about the organizers. The funniest thing is nobody knows who the organizers are. And a very
No,
interesting fact is
some
that
names are there. Some names are
no,
there.
no names, sir. There are
Yeah,
names of the people who are going to participate, but nobody knows
yeah,
who the organizer is. That is point number
yeah,
one. Point
yeah.
number two is they had mentioned certain universities, but now the universities, after the backlash which has come up, and which is a very good sign of people who are practicing Hinduism, that they are fighting back. They are not just going to sit, lay down. Now that's the change which is happening, and it's a change of mindset, and it is also the change of what we can call, the political will which is happening in the country. Now we have to understand why this is happening, because a complete ecosystem was created, and it did not happen from yesterday to today. All this comes in from the Indologists which were there in Europe, who were studying Second World War. We can talk about Max Muller, we can talk about Mackenzie, we can put in a few more names to make it sound more academic. Now what happened was, when Mrs. Gandhi, this is, I'm talking about, I'll mix India with Europe in certain cases. When Mrs. Gandhi wants to become the prime minister and there is a split in Congress, this did not happen then. Then is when the ecosystem starts, working in India. Then the communists helped her, and they say we want to take up institutions. And like Mr. Sharma mentioned that JNU, we're talking about, or Jadavpur University or Jamia Millia. What happened is there is a nexus between the Communist Party of India and the progressive Islamic scholars. Now, this is nexus, or I don't know if it is nexus or it's a marriage of convenience. When that happened, then the ecosystem started working. I, being from JNU, I know why I did not land up becoming a professor there. This ecosystem was there. That is how it is happening in India. On the world level, the Indologists who were there, and all the literature which they were producing, suddenly United States of America says that we are not going to let Europe control this part of area, which is Southeast Asia. And they take these scholars and everybody, and they start using, and instead of calling it Indology, then it starts up becoming the Southeast Asian studies there. And that is when, these scholars keep calling each other. So most of these scholars, if you see, they have a leftist leniency, but their narrative is anti-India, which is quite, it's very, very strange. I'm a Hispanic myself. Okay, but then I am in love with the country I'm studying the culture of, which means I'm living in Spain. I love Spain. This is my second house. I talk about Spain as if it was my second home. I'm not criticizing Spain on every small little thing. I mean, obviously, if there's something wrong, I criticize, because that is what, the expression of thought is all about. Strangely, when they talk about expression in the Constitution of India and the Constitution of United States of America, it clearly says that the expression is allowed, but within certain limits. And it also very clearly says, at least the Constitution of India, that a foreigner cannot exercise this. Now, what is happening is that our professors in India, they keep calling them, and the other way around. So this keeps going on. And what is happening in the whole process is that the literature, it becomes, the literature of their narrative, it becomes more available. It is available on all digital media. It will be available on Wikipedia. And what is going to happen in the future is, once the digital education comes in, then the algorithms of this Wikipedia or whatever, which is going to be taken up from there, it will be expanding it further. So the fear is real. And what has Government of India done until now? Very little, because as secular government, they were already pushing this ideology and they were supporting this ideology. We talked about the Aryan invasion theory. Romila Thapar herself has agreed that this theory is debunked now, but it is still being taught in the schools. Now this is crazy. What happened? Unless there was a political change and we had ICCR and they were having chairs. I checked this morning, they had about 66 chairs. One of the chairs is in the same university which is pushing this, this conference. What did they do? They did not do anything because they were not interested. As Hindus, what did we do? We did nothing because we were reading the same books. I got to know more about Hinduism reading Mackenzie's book or Max Muller's book. Where is our original reading? What are we doing? We are disorganized. Simple and plain. So don't blame it on them. They know what are they doing. They know where they want to reach. They are doing their job perfectly well. The fault lies with us. We did not do anything. We did not control our temples. We did not make a group of people who will be intellectually prepared and who will be analyzing and writing and rewriting our own scriptures. I have to go to an American or a British or a German to tell me what Vedanta is and what Vedas is and what everything else is.
That is a matter of concern. You are right.
Let's face it, we didn't do it. Okay, we didn't do it. It's still time we can do it. If we start now, and we are starting, we can stop this.
Okay, so nice. Thank you.
Can I
so
point out a few things on here?
Please.
Just contrary to what you just said, Alok ji, the Chinmaya mission is worldwide, and it was started.
Please.
This movement was done 3 years or plus ago by Swami Chinmayanand-ji, and that's a Vedantic study available to everybody. You can physically go to these institutions in your local city, or you can connect online, so it is available. There is also Vivekananda Society. There is Sri Ramakrishna Mission. We have been working diligently through these organizations. At the academic level, I would say that India was bogged down with science and research and politics and policy, and particularly JNU was very infested. It still is very infested with various issues of political nature, and is totally got derailed from the religious perspective.
Okay, I'll just thank you very much for this information. I was aware of this. What is happening is that the certain groups like Chinmaya Ashram is there, or we're talking about the Vivekananda Society. We could also talk about
ISKCON.
ISKCON is working on a bhakti movement. They have done lots of Krishna consciousness books and all that stuff.
Yes.
But how many of these gurus, of these learned people, actually going to universities and giving a counter? Not a single one. They normally wash their hands away and they say, we are not into this. So it is not for them. They have done their job. They've done their literature, whatever, fantastic. I don't find, if I Google today as a young Indian Hindu interested, in something else than computers or being a lawyer or something, I will not find the 108 Puranas, or I'll not find the four Vedas, or I'll not find Ramayana or anything available readily. And if you look around, there'll be applications for all other religious books from all other. So they're doing, but everybody is doing something, but nobody is doing one thing, in one direction. We are not rowing in the same direction. This is what is happening. And the
Okay.
accommodations are on one side, the gurus and the spiritual leaders and the religious leaders are on one side, and the politicians are on one side. We did not prepare the ecosystem.
I have
Everybody
to.
is working, but nothing is happening. Everybody is going in a different direction.
I
We are
think
not going in the same direction.
I'll
That's
take the Punamji as a Vedic science researcher and data scientist. How just you just counter the
So,
whatever
Vodhu se baat kar lo.
logic given by the Alok ji and the Dr. Saket ji and whatever. Just Saket ji tried to just give the pictures and Alok ji just whatever pictures actually. So as a data scientist as well as the Vedic science researcher, how do you analyze the things and what should you do? What we have done?
Right. So, Vannaji, you please mute yourself.
Yeah.
And the points raised by Alokji are very, very genuine and real. The data, everything that is going forward is artificial intelligence based on the data comes from where you have digitized content, and that's the future, and the problem is real, and there's no question about it. So it's one of that point, and I want to also bring it, and then I'll loop both the points together. Is the one problem is real. The second, if we are still in the mindset of hasti mitti nahi hamari, from 1876 we had 7 breaks. If when Afghanistan was Hindu, now what you see is what is happening. It was a thriving society. Now what's happening? And it's going to be exponentially speedy with technology going forward. So I don't want to get into that hasti mitti nahi hamari. We are already at the verge of, drowning. Number 2 is when we talked about the Indologists, the insider Indologists are not doing anything. Please be aware that we were strategically destroyed till 2014, when the government of India launched a site to digitize the our scriptures, so that today in the world, you can Google it right now, over 30 million Vedic
Scriptures. Yeah.
scriptures are out there. Out of that, India has only 10,000 acknowledged, not the whole document. So a lot has been stolen and destroyed, not destroyed, manipulated to serve them. And one of the example is Germany. That Hitler just wanted to become the superpower with that knowledge, and you do something with the knowledge without dharma, we can see what happened. So that's another thing. Another point that was raised is that the Indologists, academic Indologists, are not doing enough. Please be aware. At least I can quote 2 of my friends who have been kicked out of their career for not conforming to the mainstream thoughts. Their papers are not accepted. So they are punished
Mm-hmm.
to bring the insider view. And there is a humongous amount of effort that I see on the grassroots level, scholars, not the people, grassroots level scholars, that they have taken their personal interest to bring it out. So yes, there is a problem, but we need, 2014 was not too far back. So that was the effort started. So all the movements, the bhakti movements and the chinmaya movements, they have tried to survive. However, yes, that's not enough. So that's another point that I want to bring, and that has to be a part of the curriculum, part of the academic research, and has to be state supported. I love the suggestion by Vikramji that, unless we have the protection here, we have taken the protection out, so everybody wants to tell us who we are, and we have only things available to know from their eyes, not from our eyes. So there's a real problem. And I want to take this opportunity to bring another simple point, is that, you cannot compare that what the religion and dharma, how they are equated. Religion, that was started by a person, by a ideology, by the person who was an involved person and did the awesome job for that time. But as the time progressed, it has been diluted by the successive people to serve their agenda. And the agenda is, more people we have, the better power we have. And that's why the conversions and all kinds of atrocities that you see. When we say that Hinduism is a way of life, what is the Hinduism a way of life? Does not have a founder. Is there a founder for chemistry, physics, biology, sociology? No. Many scholars came and enriched it, and then improved upon it. And that scientific language understanding cannot be brought out by somebody so young, so new. So yes, it's all it's a difficult time, but not an impossible time, and we have to take it seriously. So that's all I had to say.
So I would just point out that the Hindi phrase that I said is basically to point out why we are being antagonized so much.
No, Saket ji, you are right. Whatever Hindi phrase hasti vritti nahi hamari, just you mentioned,
Yes.
that's okay. This is our history.
That's
But
our history,
now,
yes.
now,
Reality.
Reality
Reality.
is reality is
reality
right.
and history also, but we have to also look into that facts at present as we are living
Exactly.
at the present days. That
I
is
want to
also the
I, I
reality.
want to answer Saketji. Saketji, you did mention about the institutions, let it be Chinmaya Mission and the others. What is missing is an outreach, to be very honest,
Exactly.
which is not there. Marketing is not there.
Mhm.
Even by blowing the Twin Tower, they have a courage to buy the CTA bus and paint it and take the hoardings big, big. It costs so much. Islam, religion of peace. Where are we? You
What
are
does
very
mean? What does
comfortable,
mean?
your son going to a good school. Hmm?
Mhm.
You are very comfortable living in a big house. You are very comfortable, your son is going to a good school. That's what is, we are very cozy. This is the biggest problem of we Sanatanis, to be very honest. Then comes that, like, we don't have any institute also. Temples are, when we talk about why did we make these temples, Chicago has more than 50 plus temples right here. When we want to talk about it, nobody allows. Oh no, 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 ye hamara kaam nahi hai. Because Rajniti and Dharma has to go together. We have to educate people. We all know that. Shastra has to be there. We
Mhm.
just left that. And the second one, very important thing, you just see, let this be in Bharat, let this be in United States of America. It is only the ISKCON doing, giving the Gita. But what are the others? Are we talking
Yeah,
to anybody? We
yeah.
don't believe in conversion, but
Yes.
there they convert you. We talk about Mother Teresa, what she has done. If you just do, there will be so many theses and research available. Like, we can do it, and can whole universities will be not sufficient to do the research. Why she did only pick up India to serve in Calcutta?
Mhm.
What are we doing?
So many questions.
Yeah.
Vandana ji, so right. So there are so many questions just to be discussed and just to be, I think, removed from the reality. Avtas ji, just very questions raised by Vandana ji. What we have done, what we should do, and what we have analyzed. All is talking, done in such a reality. How this reality is go on, and what should you go now next? Whatever they have just, thanks to the dismantling global Hindu, so somebody was sitting here just talking about the existence, whatever existence are there. So nice. Whatever they have just try to mobilize, as Alok ji also mentioned and Vikram ji also said, and, already Bhattiji. So this is a good thing. So with somewhere just we have raised ourselves. So after how
Yeah,
just
I
we have
just
only to discuss to do something in practical way.
right.
What were some organizations doing?
Right.
Thank you.
I'll quickly make a couple of points, and one of the points
Yeah.
that I would like to make is I am also from JNU, and it's
Yes.
easy to, it's easy to for people to come and just berate JNU, but there are good people who have come out from JNU, and I really, really appreciate the opportunity I got in JNU to learn from some of the really good acharyas like Professor Kapil Kapoor and Vita Abi. So I have all good things to say about JNU. Besides politics, let's leave that aside. Other very important point that somebody mentioned is insider view. We have lost the agency because of various factors, one of them being the colonization. Professor Arvind Sharma talks about this very openly in one of his articles. And also, I think if you Google, you will find a YouTube that. So he was talking at Harvard. So you can listen to him. He's basically during the colonial period, the flow of information about our own culture and many other colonized society became from outsider to outsider. So people heard about Hinduism from Max Muller, and everybody knows that he never set foot in India. Okay, he never came to India. And so whatever he heard from somebody, he wrote about it, became famous, and now he is, for whatever reason, he's an authority. Now we have to reverse this process of the flow of information from insider to outsider. But how do we do it? We don't even know Sanskrit. All our shastras, including dharma shastras, are translated by people like Sheldon Pollock or whoever, who have no idea what the Sanskrit is, and they found for somebody else, and now we just digesting the same information that has been given to us from others. We are not talking to the Swamijis or Acharyasjis or Panditjis or Nambudris. We need to get that information translated into Indian languages and including in English. Look at the Murthy Library. They gave it so much money to Sheldon Pollock. So that's another one. And we also, I have done a lot of research on South Asian centers. If you look at them, they were developed during the Second World War time. Okay, and they were part of spy program. They wanted to know what India is, what Sri Lanka is, what Africa is. That's how they developed these Department of Area Studies. And you should listen to a talk by Nicholas Dirk. He was the professor at Harvard, I think. So he clearly mentioned some of the brilliant scholars that we consider them, like, for example, the person who ran the University of Chicago South Asia Library, the person who ran the Fulbright Scholarship Program. They were spies. They were paid by CIA. Okay, so now we have the same legacy being forwarded. 2021 is the legacy. It's not as blatantly spying, but it's the same department. So we have to consider those facts. And then in the conference, there is no Makarant Paranjpe, there is no Lavanya Vyamsani. There is no one who is representing us.
Yeah.
So, and it's mostly the scholars, quote unquote scholars. There is Anya Lumba, right? And so you have to dismiss that in certain level, that this is not a real academic conference. It's just a political vendetta.
Okay, Vikram, something raised the one point, and then take the Bhatti.
So the action items.
Yes, Rakeshji. So I just wanted to bring one point. It's good that we talked about 2014 being like opening up opportunities for us to finally set right this anti-Hindu agenda in academia. But I want to remind everybody of what Justice Chandrachud, the Supreme Court judge who is next in line to become Chief Justice and who will have a 2-year term very soon, He has said Constitution founders attempted a radical transformation of society which was based on caste and patriarchy. So this is the mindset that the establishment elite in Bharat have. You can vote in any government in power, but until you change this establishment elite, I think we will be back to square one the next time another party comes to power, and we'll be just spinning our wheels. So we have to understand that decolonization is the primary goal for us, and then everything else will follow.
Okay. So, Dr. Bhattji, just you have some anger, and just always thinking about the how in the India is who was the BJP leaders and RSS led doing, and what they are not doing properly, what they should do. And one question was very important. All the from US, Spain, and Germany, and from so our missions, the foreign missions, the in the other countries are also not properly doing for the country and properly advocating
Yeah.
whatever our culture is, Hinduism. So how just you think, Ram Bhattji, this is very valid question. We all the analyze and the who are living in the other countries just to think on and just to send the thoughts and letters and whatever tweets to the government of India and PM Modi and external affairs minister should send. Their IFS should be properly trained now. They have not properly trained. Ramji.
Okay, thanks, Rakeshji. Well, it's a very tricky question, of course. Let me say, of course, Avtanji has very nicely put many things in perspectives, and of course, maybe these can be raised, these issue in some time next, in another talk or discussion. One thing is very clear, because I was born in India, I studied in India, and I came here to teach. So, of course, the experience that I have gathered in last almost 20 years now, that I have the feeling that there is, of course, the difference is that Indians are unable to put forth their own thoughts, their own ideas. This is a huge problem because, as I said earlier, religion is not equal to dharma. Unless you understand that idea, of course, you are trained here as a monotheistic scholar working on monotheism. You will apply those models there and those approaches, and you don't care about others. Then, of course, and that is exactly what happened. But one more thing I want to stress here or underline: please do not generalize that all scholars, whether in Germany or elsewhere, are working in the same, they are all politically motivated. No, and they have same ideas. No. I mean, there is a lot of discussion going on within Germany as well, and there are pro and cons. So the problem of our people is that I think many people they don't read, and the Indian scholars, of course, obviously, I don't want to name the institutions, but CSDS, for example, I know some people
Yeah,
there and have
yeah,
the
yeah.
privilege to
So
talk.
so
Yeah.
many.
So,
Yeah.
somebody was in a conference and wanted to talk about, some text, Sanskrit text. And I simply asked them, two of these guys, do you know Sanskrit? Can you read Sanskrit? They said, why should I, be able to read Sanskrit? It's all in translation. I mean, this is the real problem because the translations are done in various ways. You have different types of translations, and mostly the cultural idea or the cultural property of the word and the text is not talked much about. This is the real problem because
Okay.
the
Okay.
same word may be understood in a different way
Okay.
and
Okay.
interpreted in various ways. That is one thing.
Okay. Okay.
The
Okay.
politics, what the politics can do, of course, to train their diplomats properly, because I'm not against, they are doing wonderful jobs, definitely, but especially your cultural attaches. I mean, I don't understand what they are doing. I mean, do you have these Hindi officers all around the world? You have, for example, Tagore Center here. You have Nehru Center in London. Of course, in London, we are lucky to have this. The person there at the moment is very good. But otherwise, since last 20 years, I see people here. They have no idea of Indian culture at all, and you are sending them a cultural ambassador. What is this?
I get you. Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, this is also a problem, and then of course you need to come up with the problem. You have to counter, as
yeah.
often Z also said. You have to counter. Unless you counter, your thoughts will not be taken seriously, and this is the real problem, because those people working in India who are there, mainly most of them are political scientists, or else they have, of course, they have no knowledge of the real text, the original text, because they use only the translated text. And the people from the West, of course, it is like in journalism. I'm sorry to say that. We have a journalist here at the moment. I mean, from Germany, from Hamburg, the speaker, sitting in Delhi. And I asked her, she wrote some piece, and I asked her, where did you get the information from? Of course, she got from some particular journalist. And this journalist, he even can't speak proper Hindi. So, what do you expect from these people then? So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you need to have counters.
Yeah,
Unless you
yeah,
want
you're
to
right.
have
Yeah, so, yeah, Budgie. Actually, we have all the 1 hours. We have just located the 1 hour 11 minutes. So I think maximum 10 minutes we can stretch. And the 2 or 3 queries and Alok Lahad also some intervene, and Avatanzi also want to say something. So at the last take and one round, just I'll take the one each for the 5 second comment. That will be the last one. But in between, I'll take the very short comment with Avatanzi and Alok, very, very briefly.
Who starts first?
No, what do you want to intervene? Either Avatanzi want to add something. So there's difference between intervene and add.
All right. I
You
just wanted to say something. We are missing the bus here. The whole problem is that the ecosystem has been made in such a way that the mindset of the children is changed by the time they go to the school. This whole mindset continues in the university, and then when they go abroad to study, the same mindset is there. So you're not understanding where the problem is. The problem lies that they took hold of the roots. This is what the Christian missionary schools did. Once they left, then
Alok,
we had the
sorry.
humanist people coming in there and doing it. And there are no Professor Paranjpe anywhere, but Dr. Paranjpe in JNU himself, he's shunned down and he's given names. He's called Sangi or whatever. And if you talk to somebody, nobody wants to know him. So this kind of categorization or boycotting or hukkapani bun type of a thing, which ma'am also said, lots of Indologists, they've lost their jobs because they wanted to put up a real narrative. That is because they already have a stage set for themselves. If you don't play the tune they want, they don't want to let you there. So what do we have to do? We have to make another stage and put a Real Madrid with a Barca, and then you fight together.
No, so nice of you. Alok, you are saying the very root cause actually. But now how we are just awakened just for the hammer of the dismantling global Hindutva.
The Ministry of Culture should do something. The human resource should be doing something. What are they doing? Why are they sleeping? Have they done anything to stop this conference? Nothing at all. So we can praise Mr. Modi a lot. What is the Ministry of Culture doing?
Absolutely. I agree with him. I 100% dot to it.
Why did they stop their visa?
What
happened to China?
are the ambassador doing here in United States
They
of
don't
America?
let you in. They don't let you in. And we are giving them awards.
No.
I mean, where's the mindset? We have to control our narrative. If we don't do it, nobody is going to do it for us.
That's the point. We have to control our narratives. Whatever government is doing, that is apart from our just theories and thoughts. We should not go into that. Actually, if you say like that, our Modi government is a secular government. What you can just say, I have faced when we were organized in the World Hindu Congress in 2018. And Bikram is here. So many problems I faced as Modi government was here. I have no just any station to just share here. But that is different. We will share in other platform. So Avatanzi something to add, and that take the Poonam just to summarize the whole thing. If any Saket, anything add, okay. Otherwise, the last take from the Poonam.
I think the action items that I feel should be that we should demand for Sanskrit to become language in compulsory in the school level. That would be the first step. Then we should also, at individual level, connect with the academia ask for the Hindu religion research papers, or if you are rich, you can fund a scholarship, just fund a scholarship in these programs and ask the right narrative. And that is the starting point, in my opinion. And take up from whatever is there already. Like you have the beautiful organizations that are serving in every city. Take from there, you know, whatever they have done. They have their acharyas, they
Okay,
have their
okay, okay,
Sanskrit
okay.
scholars, they have their
Yeah.
sannyasis. So go from there.
Okay. Thank you.
By
Avtanji.
the way, in School of Languages in JNU, Sanskrit was purposely not let in.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
a point.
Now going to be in very soon. Avtanji, this is news for us, for you. Yeah. Avtanji,
Mute him.
unmute yourself, please. Yeah.
Mentioned that we at Indica have been doing a lot of work in Sanskrit itself. So we have set up a Sanskrit classical library, Indica Classical Library, where a lot of translations are being done of the original texts. We recently held a Sanskrit poetry, online poetry program, where most of them were young scholars. So
Good.
so
Good.
the work is going on. And quickly, I just wanted to mention, I remember going to a program here. We had celebrated a combined program. Jewish and Hindu community had come up with a program. I was surprised that the people who came from the consulate could not even mention the prime minister's name openly. Whereas the Israeli ambassador mentioned Benjamin Netanyahu's name 20 times in his speech. Okay, so this is just to show at what level we are in terms.
Diwali of year 2019.
Yes, exactly. So they couldn't even say, the name of Narendra Modi.
Diwali and Hanukkah together.
Yes.
Diwali and Hanukkah together.
Yes. So that's all I
recently,
wanted to mention.
I had a similar experience. FIA was.
So just you want to, Saket, please. Just want to mention the foreign mission, role of foreign mission. Just quickly, just.
Pardon me? Sorry.
You have you want to mention about the foreign mission, role of
Yes,
foreign mission.
exactly. That's what I said. We went to a program here in Chicago that was jointly hosted by Jewish and Hindu community, and the diplomats from both missions were invited. First of all, our consulate general came an hour late. Okay, an hour late in a program where her counterpart was also there. Okay, and they did not mention the name of the prime minister that they represent, the people of India represent. They could not mention his name, and the Israeli prime minister was mentioned at least 20 times in one speech by the consulate general of Israel.
Yeah, so nice. So I'm going to the Poonamji request to just sum up all the hatred of Hindu in academia, and we'll continue the next week. Every week we can do if you things like that. No issue. So we have that.
Lot of good points have come up in just in today's discussion, and a lot of them are long term. But again, I would like to kind of touch upon the short terms, because we see the immunity towards the Kashmiri Hindu to West Bengal, or denial of all the Hindu genocide. And just quick statistics: we Hindus are 0.7% in US population and have 8%. We comprise 8% of the founders of high-tech companies, and 1/3 of the technology startups in Silicon Valley. So that kind of people we are. And the other statistics is gonna alarm a lot of us, is Indians are crime victims at the rate above average in the United States. Way far, we are the Hindus are far more likely to be victims of violent crimes, and those statistics are public. 124 crimes per 1,000 people aged 12 and older, which is 2.5 times the national average. 14 cases of hate crimes targeting Hindu Americans in 2018 alone. So academic freedom cannot act as a license to be fair to some religions and unfair and prejudicial to others. So my suggestion is the Indian government's ICCR, Interfaith Center on Corporate Responsibility, has to set up a numerous chairs in the foreign universities. They should check that list to identify those where the scholars support the Hindu phobia particularly, and a lot of can be seen in the Hindu phobic conference like this one. And occupants of such chairs must speak up in their official capacity, and that is something that can be done right away. And that's my suggestion and
So
request.
nice of you, Poonamji, and all of you. Just very nicely pointed, just all the issues and just the long term and short term and what we should do and the parallel term. As I believe in, not to cut anyone, just bigger the line, whatever we have been doing and we should do. If you not so otherwise, just anybody can dismantle us. So we are united, and you should be, and we are, and we should just increase our line, increase the numbers, and just bigger the lines. How we can be, and whatever suggestion put by the Poonamji, Vandanaji, Dr. Saket Sinha, Kansji, Alokji, Vikramji, and Dr. Ram Bhatt. So next also we can we'll meet again and for this cause and just decided as just a schedule and agenda, and this change should be bigger for the interest of the Sanatan Hinduism. Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
just to participate
Thank
in the
you.
program,
Thank you.
go see and share the global governance news for this list movement of the new India, new Bharat for and the global Bharat we can say, and for global Hinduism. Thank you very much. Jai
Thank
Hind,
you.
Thank you.
Jai
Good
Bharat.
night.
Yeah, thank you.